I'm a Moor, some call me Saracen, some Muslim. Europe had some dark age issues, I solved them. Using Moorish science, I'm stating the obvious. Rapper drone stepped up from Kush to Mali blunts, unawakened, unconscious. Unaware Moors won't accept the fact, plus you looked up black or more. Moors the custodian of Kemetic Nubians, carrying the marvelous light, the path Negroes to Nubians, saying I'm a Moor, not colored or black. I'm a Moor, Seti or Enki, they can't change that, cause I know their hands don't extend past Allah's wisdom. I'm a Moor, no doubt a contradiction. Return to my own vine and fig tree. Nationality, a mind frame if you're with me. Reclaim your ancestral mind and shout.
I'm a Moor. Red fairs, black tats, elders of my class, not black or Indians. I repeat, I'm a Moor. Indigenous to the farthest west. Say we were great, still they say we the best. Hear what I say, I'm a Moor. Yes, it's true, if not for Drew Ali, most of y'all would have still been asleep. Now you could tell them I'm Moor. Then you could ever wish you thought you would be. 3 centuries deep in Moorish science, I read, study, I'm a Moor.
Rope on a peg, stuck in the shore. Oceanographic device anchored to sea floors. I'm a Moor. Goldfish of China and Japan. Veil-tail variety, brushing the cold water plants. I'm a Moor. Stretches of lands, jungles or where sand blows. Reptilian species and amphibians' homes. I'm a Moor. Defending Drew Ali, that's my mission. To put securely in place or desired position. I'm a Moor. Ancestral mindset, not thinking like the hybrids. Can't hide from a 10, so they mess with the climate. Mess with the minds, mess with the foods, get violent. About more subjugation, your black leaders are quiet. Signed on to King Alfred, but they want you to riot. Pushing dogma as religion and want you to buy it. Most never do it, but they want you to try it. Too many have knowledge of self on the shelves and won't apply it.
I'm a Moor. Red fairs, black tats, elders of my class, not black or Indians. I repeat, I'm a Moor. Indigenous to the farthest west. Say we were great, and still they say we the best. Hear what I say, I'm a Moor. Yes, it's true, if not for Drew Ali, most of y'all would have still been asleep. Now you could tell them I'm Moor. Then you could ever wish you thought you would be. 3 centuries deep in Moorish science, I read, study, I'm a Moor.
People playing games. They playing games.
Oh, I could have done this shit. I didn't see it. Oh, y'all, come on, get on here so I can show y'all this shit right quick. Before I get out of here, I just got something to show y'all right quick. There's always some shit that I've been saying, and I made a post about it yesterday. So I'm gonna start going more into detail so I can bring this shit out for y'all so y'all can see what the fuck I'm talking about. And people can stop lying to y'all. So, alright, we got 69 people on here. They got more people coming. I'm gonna give y'all a few more minutes, let y'all get up and it's gonna be quick. I just gotta show y'all something. Little TV now, okay? Alright, 75, 76. We might get to 100 real quick. We get to 100 real quick. Oh, look at it right there, baby. Look behind the box. You can just lower it down. You can leave it on though. I was saying you could have left it on, but look behind the box. 81, 80. I got something for y'all. And I'm gonna show y'all how I don't write this shit. I just read this shit. Look at Gabe, I'm about to turn that shit off. I don't write this shit. I just read this shit. You heard me? So I'm just gonna show y'all in the fucking I'm gonna show y'all in the fucking black and white what the fuck I am saying. So y'all can get with my if I had they hand me that little Constitution pamphlet. Look it right there. They hand me that little Constitution pamphlet. I'm gonna run this to y'all right quick so y'all can see what I'm talking about, and y'all can, from this live, y'all gonna be able to correct people from now on when they be trying to tell everybody that Moorish American is your nationality. And I'm gonna show y'all this shit in law so y'all can see this shit for yourself, and not that I'm saying it. Now let's go. This is one of my B-Day gifts. This is the 3rd edition right here. This is 3rd edition Black's Law Dictionary, right? So we're gonna go here to the 3rd edition. I was on proclamation. But I'm gonna come over here. What I'm looking for? More. This is a Black's Law Dictionary. More. So when they tell you more is your nationality, you tell them in the law dictionary, a Moor is an officer in the Isle of Man who summons the courts for several sheddings. The office is similar to the English bailiff of 100. This is what the law says a Moor is. The American law. You're in America. This is what the American law says a Moor is.
Stop lying. That's what Henry Campbell Black's dictionary says. That's not what American law says what a Moor is. That's not what, for example, American law, United States law for the state of Delaware, for example, says that the tribe was formerly known as the Moors. How you Indian but you're not a Moor? The American law, state of Delaware, says that the Indians were formerly known as the Moors. So if the Indians were formerly known as the Moors, wouldn't that mean that Indians are Moors? And if Indians are Moors, then why are people who are pretending to be black Indians trying to convince you that they're not Moors but they're Indians? When the United States law, Delaware state codes, which is the law for Delaware, is telling you that the Indian tribe is known as the Moors. And then, where does it say in there that Moorish American is not a nationality? I didn't see anything say that Moorish American is not a nationality in the definition of Moor. Where does it say Moor is not a nationality in here? Where does it say that? So what do you mean he proved something? What did he prove? He just showed you the definition of a word. How is that proving something? How come he doesn't make the reference to all these words that have more in it? How about that? How about that? Can't hear? Talk to IG. I don't know what's going on. How come he's not talking about all these words that have more in it? How come none of these words say Indian? How come it's not Indianage? For the sum due by law as usage for mooring or fastening of ships. Why is mooring or fastening of ships called Moor? Why isn't it called Indian? Yep. Trinity to the bone. You know it is, girl. The Trinity thing. I know Tobago too. You know already. Don't let them try to convince you that you're not a Moor. People are tripping. People are tripping. And there's somebody right there who can verify. In Canaan, in Tobago, there's a Jan de Moor Street. Why is there a Moor Street in Tobago? I ain't see no Indian streets over there. How come there's a Moor Street in Tobago? Why? How do Moors make it all the way to that little island just sitting there? That they had a street named after Moors or a Moor in Tobago. And you're telling me you're not Moors? How you figure you're not Moors? How? How are we not Moors? He show you the definition of some word and you're going nuts He showed you a definition. He didn't prove anything. A Moor is an officer in the Isle of Man. Why doesn't he address the point that one Moor is similar to an English bailiff of 100? Like, oh, Diego Martin in Trinidad has West Moorings. Why are there West Moorings? And then why is Westmoreland in Jamaica? And why is Port Moor in Jamaica? Because we're not Moors? Those places are just called Moor just because, you know. Why are Sri Lankans called Moors? And Punjabis called Moors? Why you go to Philippines and they're called Moros? Because we're not Moors? We're Indians? And we're blacks? And we're all this other BS? How you figure? And again, it's a campaign by, if you want to say Illuminati and all that stuff, to try to keep you away from being Moors. They're going to send all these riffraffs out here. They're going to send all of you to try to convince you that they're not Moors, right? They're going to talk all that BS about they're not Moors, right? But how come Harold Mays, aka Raspy Rawls, is not going at these Europeans who's calling him a terrorist? How come he's not going at them? Why wouldn't you go at them? Why are you going at your brothers for trying to teach our people about their nationality? But you're not going to go against these Europeans, putting your picture out there, putting all your posts out there. How come you're not going at these Europeans? Got you wearing the USA shirt. Isn't USA the devil and all that stuff? Isn't the USA the KKK and all that? Are you just standing on the flag because they're the criminals and all this? But you're not going to go at these Europeans. You're going to come talk BS about Moors and we're not Moors and show a definition in a law dictionary to try to say that we're not Moors. How you figure? That's like somebody bringing up bikes, and I'm bringing a definition of bike to try to convince you that that's not a bike. Is that competent, or is that stupidity? Just got a law dictionary yesterday. Talking crazy about Moors. That's the first thing you look up. That's what you look up. And then again, dumbass is not gonna look at it from the perspective of Moor even being in the law dictionary. Why is it even in there? It's a law dictionary. What does Moors have to do with a law dictionary? Because again, where does it say Moor is not a nationality in this definition? Where does it say people shouldn't call themselves Moors? Where does it say, no, there's no such thing as people called Moors? What are you talking about? That's preposterous. What's a Moor? You know that? A Moor is an officer in the Isle of Man who summons the courts for several sheddings. How come you're not asking the dumb question of, well, if the Moor is the one that's summoning the court, then obviously the Moor is the one with the power. Because you don't summon police summon you. So the people doing the summoning, you don't want to be them. You want to be the people getting summoned. Really? And you want freedom? You don't want freedom. You love slavery. You love slavery. And don't forget all that Raspy Rawls and all that stuff there. That's Harold. We'll let Harold play games. Because if we ask him to pull out ID right now, guarantee ID's not going to say Raspy Rawls on it. Guaranteed. Just go ask them, hey, let's see your ID. What kind of ID you got if you're indigenous? Let's see your ID if you're not black and you're not a Moor. Okay, let me see your ID. What ID you got there? Bet you it has a European name on it. Bet you. Bet you it has a European name. Maze or something like that. Junior. Some European stuff. Guarantee you. But these are the people for our salvation as a people.
Courts for several sheddings. The office is similar to the English bailiff of 100. This is what the law says a Moor is. The American law.
No, remember, this is not American law. This is a dictionary. That's like, you tell me, hey, look up black in the dictionary. And look up black, and I'm telling you, the American law says that black means black people. How? That's not a law. That's a dictionary. It's a dictionary for law. It's not the law. It's not American law.
In America, this is what the American law says a Moor is. So whenever a Moor tells you your nationality is Moorish American, this is what the fuck the fucking law says a Moor is. Now, let's see what the law says an Indian is. I don't write this shit. I just read it, my brothers. Where am I? Indian. Come over here. Indian. The Aboriginal inhabitants of North America. That is what Indian means in law. I'm not telling you to call yourself an Indian because the white folks said you were Indians. I'm telling you to call yourself an Indian because that denotes the Aboriginal inhabitants of North America.
Yeah, but Henry Campbell Black is a white man. He's a European. And he's the one that put in the dictionary, that's what an Indian is. So if you're calling yourself Indian, aren't you calling yourself what the Europeans said you are? If Henry Campbell Black, the guy who wrote the Black's Law Dictionary, is a European man. So this is a European's book. This is not the law's book. This is not United States law book. This is a law dictionary written by a European. Then if you call yourself Indian, you're calling yourself what the European called you. Look it right there, it's in the dictionary. And then on top of that, they're going to tell you that an Indian is the Aboriginal inhabitant of North America. Right? Says it right there in the law dictionary. That's what the law says, right? That's what the fuck the law says, right? Okay, well, hold on a second. So if that's the case, then we should be able to go in the law dictionary and find Aboriginal. Right? If an Indian is an Aboriginal, then let's see what an Aboriginal is. Let's see what an Aboriginal is. Let's see what an Aboriginal is. A bog, a ball, a ball, a board, abort, abortion, abortionist, abortive, abort to. Where's Aboriginal in the law dictionary? So how could you tell me that we're not Moors because Law Dictionary says something. We're Indians, but then when I look up Indian in the Law Dictionary, it says Aboriginal. And then when I look for Aboriginal in the Law Dictionary, it's not in there. So what's that tell you about Indian if Aboriginal is not there? Doesn't that tell you that Indians are fiction? Because you can look up if a Moor is a bailiff, you could look up to see what a bailiff is. Hey, look, bailiff is in the dictionary. Now, didn't they try to tell you that a Moor is a bailiff and all that stuff, so it's not nationality and all that stuff? Well, a bailiff is one whom some authority, care, guardianship, or jurisdiction is delivered, committed, or entrusted, one who is deputed or appointed to take charge of another's affairs. An overseer or superintendent, a keeper, protector, guardian, steward, a sheriff's officer or deputy, a court attendant, sometimes called a tipstaff, a magistrate who formally administered justice in the parliaments or courts of France. Remember, all this is tied to Moor. So if Moor is all that, if Moor is all this, according to the Law Dictionary, if a Moor is all this stuff, why are you limiting yourself to Aboriginal, which is not even in here? If we're using the Law Dictionary as a reference point, then the words we use to describe our point should be in there. If they're not in there, somebody's running a fraud on you. And they're playing you out of your common sense. Because you're obviously not thinking if you're listening to these people. Obviously you're not thinking. Obviously. And if you're not thinking, you're going to be in trouble. Listening to
That's
these people.
all I'm saying to you. But these niggas keep lying to y'all, trying to tell y'all that Moor is their nationality. Now let me go a step further. Y'all just seen me show y'all the difference between Moor and Indian in law, right? Now I'm about to go.
No. Hold on. The difference between Moor and Indian.
On the Constitution.
Now, wouldn't you call a treaty of peace and friendship law? Okay, so this is Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the United States and Morocco, which is for over here, not for over there in the kingdom, for over here. If a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor, why are they talking about Moors in America if Moors weren't here? Who are they talking about? If they're over here, why are they talking about if a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor? Or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States. Hold on a second. So, how come the United States ain't worried about wounding and killing Indians? All they're worried about is them not paying taxes. How come they're not worried about wounding or killing black people? How come they're not worried about wounding or killing Africans? How come they're concerned about wounding or killing a Moor? Or a Moor wounding or killing them? Because the fight that we're having called racism is the fight between the Moors and the Christians. It's The fight going on for centuries. Your dumbass just stopped calling yourself Moors. Now you're black. So you're never going to win. Because only as Moors did you win. When you started being anything else, you lost. As soon as you start being some BS, you lost. You lost your power because you dishonored your ancestors. Calling yourself fictions. Calling yourself adjectives. Calling yourself continents. Calling yourself things. Instead of calling yourself by your nationality more, which is recognized in the Library of Congress, which is United States and all that, because the treaty's in there, sealed. And it's the longest standing treaty. But you're not Moors though, because some clown who makes some beats for some other clown and who pretends like they're some type of revolutionary whatever. They revolutionary, huh? They revolutionary? How come they didn't do jack? How come this stuff is still up online? How come you guys didn't go strangle these Europeans? How come? You cowards. Since 2015 this has been up here. Tell me you're not going to worry about these people talking about your counter domestic terrorism, have people following you into some counter domestic terrorist whatever, but you're going to tell Moors something? Moors are standing up to the highwaymen. Moors are standing up to the colonists. What are you talking about? What are you Negroes doing? What are you Negroes doing? Marching up and picking in the place. Right? At least we're getting a response. June 11, 2020. Cujo L. L, that's Moorish, right? Alright. OIPRD. Look them up. Who are they? Oh, Office of the Independent Police Review Director. What? Public complaint? Toronto Police Services? Complaint number? Oh, so there's something filed so you can go check to see that there's a complaint in there. Right? They're going to be investigating for 120 days based on this complaint that was made from a Moor to the Office of the Independent Police Review Director, which is 65 Bay Street, and Bay is the Moors. Bay is Moors. I don't care if it's A or E or AI. You're talking about Moors. That's a Moorish title of nobility. Think about Sandra Bland Street. We got Bay Street too. We got Moorish streets. What do you guys think? That's a big deal? Ain't no big deal. I'll just pacify people. Right? There's a complaint that we put on highwaymen. And we got a response as Moors. They didn't debate, are we Moors? Why are you calling yourself Moors? You're not Moors. They filed a complaint and gave us a complaint number. What are you guys doing? Marching and picketing up and down the place, and you got guns and all that. Not even doing anything. Wasting time. Wasting people's life. With BS. We're Moors. How come they weren't debating, are you guys Moors? How come they just filed a complaint, gave us our number? Let me see your complaint with Raspy Rawls filed some complaint against a highwayman that did something to you. Show me that. Don't show me definitions in a law dictionary. Show me that. Show me Raspy Rawls' name on an identification card. Show me that. Don't show me definitions in a law dictionary because you just got your dictionary, you get excited. Moore's been at dictionaries for 30, 40 years. Talking about showing Constitution. What are you showing Constitution for? Talking about Indians. Indians aren't citizens. So what? Indians aren't to be taxed. What's the big deal? Why would they tax Indians? They're not citizens. Why would they? If Indians aren't citizens of the United States, why should they pay tax? That's not knowledge. That's common sense. Indians aren't citizens. Only citizens will be taxed. So why would Indians not pay tax? No shit, Indians shouldn't be taxed. Of course they shouldn't be taxed. They're not citizens. But dumb niggers, they pay tax. Even though they're not citizens. Why they pay? Because they volunteer to be slaves. Just like they did in the past. Just like these people are volunteering to be slaves, they're volunteering to be Indians. They don't want to be free people. They don't want to be Moors, who are the bailiffs of 100, who are the sheriffs, who are the deputies, they don't want to be that. They want to be Indians, the Aboriginal indigenous people of North America. That's what you want to be? That's who you are? I'll take bailiff over Aboriginal indigenous. I'll take sheriff over Aboriginal indigenous. Based on what I see. When I look out there and I see what Aboriginal people get, and I look out there and see what sheriff gets, powers that sheriff have versus powers that Indian has, I'm riding with the sheriff. I'm going to be an Indian that I could look right now, today, 2020, and see Indians not prospering. These people play you all your
including
stuff.
Those bound to service of terms years and excluding Indians not taxed. It does not say Moors not taxed. It says Indians not taxed. Why does it say Indians and not Moors? Because Indians are under the jurisdiction of the Europeans. Dumbass. Moors are not. They don't have jurisdiction over the Moors to say whether Moors could be taxed or not. That's why we just showed you the goddamn treaty of peace and friendship. To show you that these people know who the Moors are. Since the 1700s, they had it in the treaty. How come they didn't say Indian here? We could make the same argument. How come the Indians aren't mentioned in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship? And that's the longest standing treaty between the United States and anybody. There's no treaty between the United States and Indians that's longer than the treaty between the Moroccans and the United States. Matter of fact, all the Indians do is complain about the treaties that were broken. And you're telling me you're Indian? That's the power you want? You want Indian power. That's the power you want. The power to be an Indian. The power to be a Aboriginal and indigenous of North America, and that's it. People are playing you out of your birthright of being a Moor. And the worst part is that it's not like they're talking sense. They're talking incompetent, and you're riding with it like a dummy. You're listening to these people like a dummy. If you know law so much, why is your name Harold? How come we can know you're Harold? Harold isn't some Asiatic whatever. And then if you're saying, I'm not Harold, I'm Raspy Rawls. All right, fine. Let me see your ID that says that. Show me a court document that says Raspy Rawls on it. Show me a bank account. Show me something
that says Raspy Rawls on it. If you don't have anything, shut the
This
hell up.
organization through express trust in fucking Illinois. The paperwork is there in the deed of recorder. Like, my God, this shit is fucking in black and white. I'm not making this up.
No, you're a liar. You're a Moor-hating liar. You're a Moor-hating liar. You can just look it up. Google search. This is .gov. When you see .gov, that means that's a government website. So if .gov is going to tell you more in it, not Indian, not if they should wound or kill an Indian. Why do you think they keep killing these people called Indians and black or whatever? Because they have no treaty protection. Why do you think they can't touch the Moors? Because the Moors have treaty protections. Because the Moors are in their own jurisdiction. But you don't want to get it. You want to listen to this guy because he knows Flocka, who knows some other dumbass, who knows another dumbass that one day they'll tell you that they're Moors, then the next day they're Indians, then the next thing they're marching with Black Lives Matter, and then the next day they're Africans of whatever, then the next day they're Americans, and then the next day they're brown, and then the next day they're... Like, what are you? I don't see Chinese jumping around. I don't see Japanese jumping around. I don't see Iranians, Turks, anybody jump around. Whatever they say they are, they've been that. Our people, they're black, then they're Negro, then they're colored, then they're African, and they're full of BS. More is in the treaty. More is in the treaty. Stop listening to sellouts. How come this sellout has not addressed these Europeans who since 2015 had him up on some counter domestic terrorism website, calling him out? He seemed to love his country. What happened? Calling him out. Calling him out. Long shit. Not even some little nothing. Right? They got long stuff on him. They got long stuff on him. How come you're not calling them out? Making a whole video 20 minutes talking about Moors and what Moors this and what Moors that. When Moors could show you right now, we got stuff right now filed. We got stuff right now filed. Office of the Independent Police Review Director. The director knows who the Moors are. He didn't write back to some Negro. He didn't write back to a black guy. What are you talking about?
I can't read and can't comprehend. That ain't me. You're not talking to one of them. Go play that shit with somebody else. These niggas out here lying to us. Like, they got everybody thinking that your nationality is Moorish American. This is why y'all can't find your nationality with y'all family.
So, okay, let me see, okay. Moorish America, let's see. What kind of people do live in South America? The Spanish, the Portuguese, but chiefly the descendants of the European races who had intermarried with the Indians. Other nations have made lesser contributions. Brazil, which is only a few days by steamer from West Africa, is 1/3 Negro, the crudest type of Negro on the American hemisphere. There is a strong mark of the Moor upon the Spaniard. The Arabic Moor wrought his customs very deeply into the life of Spain. The people of Mexico and Cuba might be called Moorish Americans, rather than Latin Americans. The customs, manners, and heart experience in these people of Latin America are more Moorish than Christian, more Muslim, more Arabic than Spanish. Who's not Moorish Americans? Who you listening to? Article from 1926, 1916? You listening to the people who wrote the article in 1916 that this people of Mexico, people of Latin American are actually Moorish American. You're not going to listen to them, but you're going to listen to this guy who just yesterday got his Black's Law Dictionary for his birthday and now he's trying to play smart. 1916? Or the guy who just got his Law Dictionary 2020 talking crazy? Why would they say Latin Americans are Moorish Americans if there's no such thing as a Moorish American? And how come nobody debated that article? Why? Why didn't you debate the article? Why didn't you debate the article? People are playing you. Don't worry about Moors are playing you. Moors are playing you? You better watch these Indians. These Indians are playing you.
Bull trust. Everything we are going through now, this whole commercial system we in now, is based off that trust. Everything. A palpable is a legal document. No, I've been telling us this shit for 2 years. Straight. Ain't nobody else been telling us this. Fuck authenticating a birth certificate. Get out that Moorish shit. Like I'm telling y'all stuck in that Moorish shit.
No. Moors don't authenticate birth certificates. Good try there, fuck boy. Good try. Moors don't authenticate birth certificates. That's certain Moors. Good try though. That was a bitch nigger low blow. That was a bitch nigger low blow trying to make a point that's irrelevant. Moors do not authenticate birth certificates. That's BS, and we've been telling people that. We've been telling people that forever. Don't authenticate the birth certificate. Don't try to slide that shit in there and put that on Moors. Good try though. You people think you're slick. You people think you're slick. Right? Because you're out here trying to get likes and views and all this BS instead of teaching the people. Moors don't teach authenticate birth certificate. Where you get that shit from? What are you talking about? Moors authenticate birth certificate. What are you talking about? Moors don't do that. Moors don't do that. That was some bitch shit. Trying to tie that to Moors. And then trying to make it sound like you've been teaching that for so long that you shouldn't do that and all this. Get the hell out of here. Moors been teaching don't do birth certificate stuff since the 90s. What you mean? Nobody was doing any birth certificate, anything before the 90s. You know what the hell a birth certificate was? You don't respect these type of people who lie on the Moors to try to make a point. That's criminal. Because he's a Moor. I don't care what the fuck he says. He's a Moor. A Moor is any dark-skinned person, especially African Negro. He's dark-skinned. He's a Moor. People disrespecting the birthright. You try to do that to some Chinese or whatever. They'll string you up. They'll kidnap you and bury you.
egos, right? They ego so big. They ego big. They can't step off that. They ego big. But guess what? My nigga, I built this.
What do you mean ego's big? We don't get front row seats at the game like you people. What do you mean ego's big? Taking pictures on the court and all that stuff. What do you mean ego's big? Your ego's bigger than anybody else out here. What are you talking about? Always got to be in the picture that you're teaching something. Always got to be in the screenshot. Showing off that you got some law dictionaries. That ain't nothing. You got some law dictionaries? You're showing off? Because you got some law dictionaries? You got some law dictionaries you're showing off. Really? And you're telling people about ego? Please.
I ain't stepping off this square for none of y'all. None of y'all.
You're not even on the square. Where's your fez at? What do you mean you're on the square? What square are you on? How are you teaching about law? You know all this law, and you're not even in your lawful headwear? You know black fez for the Moors means law. So where's your law while you're teaching? No, nothing? Just going out there with your curly Vidal Sassoon locks? That's what you're about? No, you're just gonna do the Vidal Sassoon locks. Cause I see you guys like doing those curly locks. The curly locks look. You know what I mean? The curly locks look is not the look. Right? When you wash the hair and then you curl the locks. Right? When you wash the hair and then you coil the locks so it could dry or braid or whatever. Right? When you take it out, it's going to be curly. All curly locks people, you got watching you people funny. We seen Waka Flocka with his curly locks. We see you getting ready. You got yours going on, getting ready to get your curly locks going on. Watching you curly locks, Vidal Sassoon locks people funny. Because we know you're traitors. Because you're going to talk all that BS about Moors, but you never, ever meant anything to these Europeans that have your picture up here on their website, tying you to some counter-domestic terrorist, American hater guy. Do nothing about it. Do absolutely nothing, but you're coming at Moors. You're coming at Moors when these Europeans have your so-called government name and all that stuff all up on here. And you're coming at Moors? You better cut your own grass before you're trying to cut Moors' grass. Yeah. You probably cut your own grass. You didn't say nothing to these Europeans using your government name up here like a clown. Say nothing to them. Nothing to them? Just let them talk crazy? And said nothing? Don't respect any of you people. None of you. You have no honor. No ancestral honor. Just a bunch of Negroes.
You're going to go talk to a nation, a United Nations, a body of nations, if you are not a nation.
Well, when last I checked, the Moorish fly this flag right here. Now, if this flag is listed, now remember, Noble Jwali is the only one that came and told us that that's our flag. So now, if that flag is listed in the United Nations, what do you mean Moors are not a nation? Well, that's the Kingdom of Morocco. Okay, well, if there's a kingdom, there has to be an empire. There can't be a kingdom without an empire. A kingdom doesn't just stand on its own. A kingdom is part of an empire. United Kingdom is part of the British Empire. A kingdom is part of an empire. Kingdom doesn't just stand on its own. So how is it that he's trying to convince you that the Moors aren't a nation, but the flags that the Moors have been using in the Moorish Science Temple, that has us, Moorish Science Temple, getting calls from people in Morocco on this same thing right here called Instagram, about between the Moors that we know, at least 20 people from over there were inquiring as to why it is we have the Moroccan flag in America. And when we tell them about the treaty, and when we tell them about Maghreb Al-Aqsa and Morocco, the farthest west is America, they don't debate. They say, oh, yeah, we know that. Welcome home. No debate. The people who use this flag right now, they're not debating the Moors. But the people in America who are classified Negro, black, colored, conscious guy, they're debating the Moors. Really? And you're going with the people who are... So hold on a second. So you're going to go with those people. You're going to go with those people. Not us. Wow. Our people are lost, if that's the case. Super lost.
I believe in them. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Clearly, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. None of them. I have no problem calling out no one. I have no problem sitting down with no one. But when I sit down, I'm not sitting down to listen to y'all because y'all are ignorant.
No, you're not sitting down to listen to us because you didn't say shit to the European. So that's why you're not sitting down nothing to us, because you're not hearing what we're saying, because this is what we're bringing up to you. Forget talking about law and are we Moors and all this stuff. We want to know, how come you never went at these crackers right here? How come you never went at these crackers? How come these crackers just put up this thing about you and all that? And you're not saying anything? Yeah, that sounds like COINTELPRO to me too. Sounds like COINTELPRO. The white man could put up a website, dedicate a page to you, dissing you, that you're a fraud, but you're coming at Moors. And you're not going to sit down with the Moors because we're ignorant. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You just got your law dictionary yesterday. The hell out of here.
Oh, I could have did this shit. I didn't see it. I am patient, my nigga. This shit 2 years strong. Y'all keep running to these fuck niggas and didn't want me to sit back and be patient. Why they fucking killing us in the street? When I could show us how we can all get on our own shit, our own ornaments, institutions, hospitals, whatever the fuck we want to start.
Can't do that without a nationality, dumbass. That's what Black Wall Street tried to do. And what happened to them? Their ass got bombed and murdered in the street. Women, children, murdered in the street. Why? Because they're playing black. What happened to Move 9 in Philadelphia? What happened? Shooting at children, shooting at women, bombing their building. Why they do that? Because they're playing black. And you're telling me that we're going to listen to you when we know from our own personal experience that nationality is the order of the day, and everybody respects Moorish nationality. Only people who don't respect Moorish nationality is the people classified as Negro, black, colored in America, who don't want to be who their ancient foremothers and forefathers were. And if you don't want to be them, then you're going to suffer. Because that's just how it goes. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. And anybody who doesn't want to wake up, let them die. Let them get choked out, and then let them get filmed by their boy watching them get choked out, instead of their boy jumping in and kicking somebody's ass. Right? It's that simple.
But we're not going to be able to start this shit under their jurisdiction unless you want to be bombed like they did Tulsa. Because Tulsa was under their jurisdiction. That's why it wasn't a human rights violation when they bombed Tulsa.
And that's why it wasn't a human right violation when they murdered George Floyd, and when they murdered Arbery, and when they murdered everybody else that they murdered. It wasn't a human rights violation. Why? Because those people don't have a nationality. They're Negro, black, colored. So only codes and ordinances and acts apply to them. Real basic. Keep going at Moors when you're not seeing Moors getting murdered in the street. Find me a Moor got murdered in the street. Please. Not seeing any other nationality out there getting murdered in the street. This is only happening to Negro, black, colored people. Nobody else. And they just murdered another brother in Atlanta. And I bet you all those articles are calling him black. And you still don't get it? Alright. Then keep dying. Then keep dying. These people are disgusting at this point. People are disgusting. No wonder Noble Drew Ali called you the slime of the earth, the Negroes, the people who try to force an uncivilized position on a civilized world, and then get mad when you diss them. Don't get mad. You're calling yourself dog shit. So if you're calling yourself dog shit, that's what you are. If I treat you like dog shit, it's not racism. It's because you're calling yourself dog shit. That's why. It's not racism. You're saying I'm dog shit. Alright, so I treat you like shit. That's racist. No, that's not racist. You're calling yourself dog shit. So take dog shit treatment and shut the hell up.
Why? Because Tulsa was under their jurisdiction. So it wasn't a human rights violation to bomb Tulsa. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to overstand.
And how come fuckboy right here didn't look up jurisdiction? He got law dictionary, right? He's telling you jurisdiction, but he's not looking up jurisdiction. How come he doesn't look up jurisdiction? Because if you look up jurisdiction, it'll tell you that there's different types of jurisdiction. So what do you mean? What do you mean they're in their jurisdiction? What do you mean that they're in their jurisdiction? What do you mean? Well, because they're in their jurisdiction. What do you mean? How are they in their jurisdiction? Explain that. Explain how the people in Tulsa are in their jurisdiction. But they're not going to go there. Because Indian is their jurisdiction. And Aboriginal is their jurisdiction. And Indigenous is their jurisdiction. And Aborigine is their jurisdiction. Because all those are under the Bureau of Indian Affairs. All those are under the Negro Acts. All those are under the black codes that were created by these Europeans when they colonized the Americas. And now these people are trying to convince you that you're not the Moors, who in the article they told you that the Moorish Americans, the Brazilians, the Mexicans, the Latin Americans, they're Moorish American. So if they're Moorish American, what the hell are you? Peace and love to all the Moors. 19 seconds. We gave them their beat down. And you know, Islam to the Moors, sending us the goodies. Anything else comes up, just throw it in the DM and we'll be glad to beat their ass. Islam, Moors.